Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the breakfast news on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. Pakistan continues to violate ceasefire along the line of control. Firing reported from Nowshera. 4 ceasefire violations on Monday. State government orders reopening of border schools in Jammu. Russia welcomes India's decision on surgical strikes across the LOC, says every country has right to defend itself. Karnataka releases Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu, but only for irrigation purposes. Supreme Court to hear plea on forming Kaveri Management Board. US suspends talks with Russia to revive failed ceasefire in Syria. Washington says patience with Russia has run out after it refuses to let up attacks on civilian areas. And India regains #1 spot in the ICC Test rankings, beat New Zealand by 178 runs in the second test at the Eden Gardens, clinch the series 2-0.
Opposition this grand home season.
Well, there has been a fresh ceasefire violation by Pakistan along the line of control. The latest has been reported from the Nowshera sector. Now, on Monday, Pakistan violated the ceasefire 4 times, resulting in injury of 5 civilians. Security forces are on high alert after an Army BSF camp in Baramulla came under terrorist attack on Sunday night. Home Minister Rajnath Singh said that Indian forces were giving a befitting reply to firing from across the border.
Pakistani troops violating ceasefire 4 times on Monday, resorting to heavy mortar shelling and firing on Indian Army posts and civilian areas along the line of control in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir.
Pakistan Army carried out unprovoked ceasefire violation in the Poonch sector in Shahpur area using small arms, automatics and mortars, and that has been appropriately been responded to. We have given them a befitting reply, and the ceasefire violation is still continuing.
5 civilians injured and several shops ablaze in the firing. Pakistan resorted to firing and shelling in Shahpur, Krishna Ghati, Mandi and Sabziyan sectors. They fired 120 mm, 80 mm mortar bombs, automatic weapons and small arms.
मैं यही कहना है कि ये दोनों ना आपस में लड़ें, क्योंकि ये जब फायरिंग बॉर्डर पे करते हैं तो सबसे ज़्यादा जो नुकसान है लॉस है वो हमारा सिविलियन का हो रहा है.
The ceasefire violations coming on a day when terrorists attacked army and BSF camps in Baramulla, about 50 kilometers from Srinagar. The gun battle between the army and terrorists lasted for 2 hours, resulting in the death of a BSF Jawan while injuring another critically. However, due to pitch darkness and the presence of civilians in the town, terrorists managed to escape.
There is a speculation the militant could have been from 2 to 4. But the kind of response that was from the army was remarkable, and that's why militants couldn't enter the army camp. They escaped by 2 reasons. Number 1, there was a lot of there was pitch dark, and number 2, there was a lot of civilian houses that were around, and if army would have effectively fired, there was apprehension of civilian casualties. That's why militants, taking advantage of the civilian shields, managed to escape.
There was an incident in which some militants attacked 46 Battalion RR base in Baramulla, where BSF boys were also on guard duty. And it was because of the alertness of Kumar, a BSF Jawan, that everyone could be alerted, and the attempt of the Fidains could not be, it was repulsed and it could not be successful.
Forces say a Uri-style attack was averted due to the response from the Indian side.
They have done an excellent job by sacrificing their supreme life to stop these militants to enter in the campus of 46 Battalion.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh, who is on a visit to Ladakh region, said security forces have been asked to be on high alert and are giving a befitting reply to cross-border firing.
हमारे सेना और सुरक्षा के जवान जो है मुंहतोड़ जवाब दे रहे हैं, कोई बधाई के पात्र हैं.
Atmosphere remains tense in Jammu and Kashmir and in states sharing a border with Pakistan after the surgical strikes conducted by the Indian Army along the LOC. However, the Jammu and Kashmir government ordered the reopening of schools in the border areas. Some schools which have been designated as temporary shelter camps for border migrants will continue to remain shut. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Russia has welcomed India's surgical strike on terror launch pads across the line of control. Moscow's backing comes days after it asked Islamabad to take effective steps to stop terror activities on its soil. Russian ambassador to New Delhi, Alexander M. Karakin, while reiterating that they are with India in fighting cross-border terror, told a news channel, and I quote, "Greatest human rights violations take place when terrorists attack military installations and attack peaceful civilians in India. We welcome the surgical strike. Every country has a right to defend itself," unquote. He also assured India that it does not need to worry about Russia-Pakistan joint military exercises, saying it did not take place in the Pakistan-occupied Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, India and Pakistan have started engagement in order to diffuse the tension following the Uri terror attack. The NSAs of both countries spoke over the phone to discuss the situation along the line of control and the political fallout from it. This is being seen as part of Pakistan's efforts to ease the situation following India's diplomatic wins at the UN and more recently at SAARC.
India and Pakistan are engaging with each other in a bid to ease tensions. The national security advisors of both countries, Ajit Doval and Nasir Janjua, had a telephonic conversation on Sunday night. They discussed the current situation and also the responses to war machines moving around the border. As Pakistan kept up the Kashmir rhetoric, it was Sartaj Aziz who broke the news, possibly to give an impression that the prospect of talks was not over yet. However, it is understood that the two NSAs stuck to their positions on both Kashmir as well as terrorism.
बार बार हो रहा है पाकिस्तान की ओर से, ये बात तो बार बार नहीं होना चाहिए और यहाँ बातें भी करते हैं और सीज फायर भी करते हैं, इसलिए हम चिंता अवश्य करेंगे, लेकिन हम जवाब देने के लिए सक्षम हैं। पाकिस्तान रास्ते पे आएगा ऐसी उम्मीद करते हैं।
China, on the other hand, also sent overtures to India after once again scuttling India's efforts at the United Nations against Masood Azhar. Chinese ambassador to India Luo Zhaohui met National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Monday morning. Though it was a courtesy call, it's also understood that the ambassador tried to convince the National Security Advisor that the technical hold on Masood Azhar was not permanent and there was room to engage further.
China is also cooperating with Pakistan on the issue of terrorism, but till now it is against India's interest. But given the fact that China stresses on economy, it will be interesting to see that how far it cooperates with Pakistan on terrorism. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television in New Delhi.
Well, as part of the centre's efforts to reach out to Jammu and Kashmir, Home Minister Rajnath Singh will visit Kargil on the second leg of the visit to the state today. In Kargil, he will interact with representatives of political parties, social organizations and individuals to seek their views on the present unrest in the Kashmir Valley. On Monday, Rajnath Singh arrived at Leh for a two-day-long visit to the Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. He met people and delegations from all walks of life from the region. Delegation groups urged the Home Minister to grant Ladakh the status of a union territory with a legislature for ensuring speedy development of the mountainous region of Jammu and Kashmir.
उन्होंने आज हमसे कोई दूसरी बात नहीं की है। सारे लोगों ने मिलजुल कर यही कहा है कि लद्दाख को यूटी स्टेटस दिया जाना चाहिए। यही सब लोगों ने मांग रखी है।
Well, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti has said that the Kashmir issue must not be seen through the security prism alone. Mufti called upon the political leadership of the country to invest in peace in the state and own the pain and suffering of the people. Addressing party workers from Gandarbal district, she said people of Jammu and Kashmir should not be given to feel that their dignity is being undermined. Maintaining that the people of Jammu and Kashmir have huge stakes in peace and stability in the region, she said that the PDP would continue its efforts to seek larger political consensus for the peaceful resolution of the issues facing the state. Meanwhile, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has hailed the centre's decision of surgical strikes on terror launch pads along the line of control. Kumar has said that the terror attacks that followed the surgical strikes are a response to India's action and there is no need to worry about it. He also added that the army is capable of giving a befitting reply to Pakistan.
केंद्र ने निर्णय लिया सर्जिकल ऑपरेशन का, वह बहुत जरूरी था और कामयाब था। तो यह मान लेना कि उससे बाकी जितनी आतंकी गतिविधियां हैं वो एक क्षण में समाप्त हो जाएगी, मैं नहीं समझता हूं। और आतंकी मसले पर कोई राजनैतिक नजरिए से एक दूसरे के से ये कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी बात करना उचित नहीं होता है।
Here's a look at what's expected to make news during the course of the day in our segment The Day Ahead. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe will arrive in India today on a 3-day visit. He will hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and call on President Pranab Mukherjee and Union Ministers Sushma Swaraj and Nitin Gadkari. The visit assumes significance as both countries pulled out of the SAARC summit last week. On a 5-day visit to the country, Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong will hold talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi today. Both countries will sign an agreement on cooperation in industrial property. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Rashtriya Lokdal Chief Ajit Singh and Jharkhand Vikas Morcha President Babulal Marandi will address a joint rally in Uttar Pradesh's Bagpat district. The rally marks the launch of a process of formation of a new political front ahead of assembly polls. Moving on, now President Pranab Mukherjee will embark on a 3-day visit to Nepal from November 2nd. President Mukherjee will be travelling to the Himalayan kingdom on the invitation of his Nepalese counterpart Bidya Devi Bhandari. This will be the first visit by an Indian president to Nepal in nearly 20 years. He is also likely to visit Pokhara, Muktinath and Janakpur. Well, Karnataka has released some water of the Kaveri river to Tamil Nadu, but only for irrigation purposes. Now, the softening of stance comes after the State Assembly on Monday adopted a resolution asking the government to take appropriate decision on the release of Kaveri water. The resolution came hours after the Supreme Court asked Karnataka to explain the continuous defiance of its orders to release water from Kaveri to neighbouring Tamil Nadu. The Supreme Court will also hear a plea on the constitution of the Kaveri Management Board. Yes, ma'am.
Hours after the Supreme Court asked Karnataka to explain the defiance of its orders to release Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu, the State Assembly authorized the government to take an appropriate decision. This clears the deck for the release of water to Tamil Nadu for farmers in the Kaveri basin for their crops and drinking requirements. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah also stressed on the importance of having to obey the Supreme Court in a federal structure.
The resolution has said by the Assembly that we should release water to our farmers, as well as take such decisions in the interest of the state.
However, the opposition to the release of water continues.
No mention about the Supreme Court order. There is no mention about the releasing of the water to Tamil Nadu according to the direction of Supreme Court. So, interpretation is entirely different. Interest of Karnataka means interest of the farmers, interest of the drinking water problem.
Earlier, the Supreme Court had slammed the Karnataka government for twice defying its order on the Kaveri water issue. The court had asked the state to release 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu on September 30th. Meanwhile, the centre has sought modification of the apex court order to set up the Kaveri Water Management Board. It said the decision to form the Kaveri Water Management Board is the Parliament's prerogative. The centre's U-turn comes 2 days after it had readily agreed to the court's direction to form a board by October 4th.
We were very disappointed that the Government of India's Attorney General said that we will form the board. He should have taken more time and said that I'll come back to the court. But anyway, I hope the Government of India will think about it, and I think they should, for the moment at least, we are hopeful that due to the public pressure building up, that they will oppose the formation of the Kaveri Management Board.
On the other hand, both DMK and AIADMK have attacked the Modi government for changing its stance, charging the centre with making the move with an eye on Karnataka Assembly elections in 2018. Pranab Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
India and Vietnam have entered into a comprehensive strategic partnership.
We have comprehensive strategic partnership character
Can the two nations contribute to the stability of Southeast Asia?
Most of the challenges to its development and security comes from the maritime domain.
Both the nations are fighting out the hegemony of China in subtle terms, not very openly.
Watch our special report, New Delhi to Hanoi, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, a multi-agency group comprising officials of CBDT, RBI, Financial Intelligence Unit and ED has been set up to ensure speedy and coordinated probe against Indians whose names have figured in the Panama Papers. The information was revealed by the Centre to the Supreme Court on Monday. An undisclosed income of about 8,186 crore rupees has been brought under the tax ambit despite non-sharing of any information by the Swiss authorities, the Department of Economic Affairs told the Apex Court. Now, the Centre also sought dismissal of a PIL seeking court-monitored probe against Indians whose names have figured in the Panama Papers for allegedly holding bank accounts in foreign nations. Well, the newly constituted 6-member Monetary Policy Committee held its first meeting on Monday. The committee, headed by RBI Governor Urjit Patel, is tasked with the monetary policy review. Now, the resolution of the MPC will be placed on the RBI's website.
Tuesday's monetary policy announcement will be etched in history as the first where the interest rate decision would be taken by a panel and not by an individual. The newly constituted 6-member Monetary Policy Committee has 3 members each from the government and the Reserve Bank. The government nominees are Chetan Khate, professor at the Indian Statistical Institute, Pami Dua, director Delhi School of Economics, and Ravindra H. Dholakia, professor at IIM Ahmedabad. While RBI nominees are Governor Urjit Patel, Deputy Governor in charge of Monetary Policy R. Gandhi, and Executive Director Patra.
The economic development or investment will not alone come from lowering of the interest rate, because we need to create demand in the economy. That is more important for attracting investment, and that the government is already doing through various infrastructure investment projects.
The Monetary Policy Committee will target to keep inflation at 4% with an upper and lower tolerance level of 2% for the next 5 years. August retail inflation eased to a 5-month low of 5.05% against 6.07% in July. Wholesale inflation, however, ascended to a 2-year high of 3.74% in August.
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जो है वो बिल्कुल भी नहीं बढ़ पा रहा है. नई इन्वेस्टमेंट जो पर्टिकुलरली मैं प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात कर रहा हूँ वो बिल्कुल भी जो है वो नाम मात्र के लिए जो है वो आ रहा है. तो जॉब्स नए क्रिएट नहीं हो पा रहे हैं. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि जो अब आने वाली मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी है उसमें नए गवर्नर ऐसा संदेश देंगे कि इंटरेस्ट रेट को कम करें.
Each of the 6 members on MPC will have 1 vote. In case of a tie, the RBI governor will have the final vote in deciding the rate. He, however, cannot veto a majority decision. Since January 2015, the Reserve Bank of India has slashed repo rate by a cumulative 150 basis points. The repo rate currently stands at 6.5%. But the banks, however, have passed on only around 80 basis points to the customers. The banks in their defense say that the pressure of burgeoning bad loans has deterred them. Reporting from Delhi with camera person Ashwini, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, moving on to some international news now. The hopes of restoring a ceasefire anytime soon in Syria have shattered. The US has suspended talks with Russia on a Syrian truce, accusing Moscow of an ongoing brutal bombing campaign. The news of shelving of talks came even as diplomats at the UN Security Council were beginning to negotiate a resolution that urges Russia and the US to ensure an immediate truce in Aleppo. Here are the details.
There is nothing more for the United States and Russia to talk about with regard to trying to reach an agreement that would reduce the violence inside of Syria. And that's tragic.
The United States following through with its threat to formally suspend talks with Russia over the Syria conflict, accusing Moscow of having failed to live up to its commitments under a ceasefire deal and continuing with its bombing campaign in the besieged city of Aleppo. US says the decision to suspend talks was not taken lightly. Russia says it regretted the move.
The Obama administration has concluded that Russia has no intention of living up to the commitments that they've made in the context of negotiations around a cessation of hostilities. And once you've reached that conclusion, I'm not really sure what else there is to talk about.
Even before the US's move, anticipating the end of talks, Russia withdrew from a landmark arms control agreement with the US that calls for each side to dispose of 34 tons of plutonium, a material used in nuclear weapons. The development signaled the further deterioration of relations between the two sides.
We regret Russia's decision to suspend this agreement unilaterally. The United States remains committed to the agreement. We believe it's in the best interest of both the United States and Russia. It's part of our efforts to secure nuclear materials and combat nuclear terrorism.
Aleppo has come under heavy aerial bombardment since the end of ceasefire 2 weeks ago. On Monday, the main trauma hospital in the rebel-held eastern parts of the city was hit by an airstrike for the third time in a week. Hundreds of people have died since government forces launched an offensive to take full control of Aleppo. Some 250,000 are still trapped.
On the UN Security Council, there's one resolution after the other is passed that healthcare structures should not be attacked, that they are protected, that it should be respected. But in the end, nothing changes.
The collapse of US-Russian talks on Syria have dashed hopes of a diplomatic answer to fighting in Syria anytime soon. The Obama administration has announced that it will consider options and alternatives like providing more sophisticated arms, logistical support and training to Syrian rebel groups, while Russia vows to continue with its military aid to Syrian forces' offensive to capture Aleppo. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Sweden's annual crop of Nobel Prizes for achievements in science, literature and peace is announced in the coming days, beginning with the Medicine Prize. Now, the 2016 Nobel Prize in Medicine has gone to Japanese cell biologist Yoshinori Oshumi. He has been awarded the Nobel Prize for his discoveries of mechanisms for autophagy. It is a process whereby cells eat themselves, which when disrupted can cause Parkinson's and diabetes. The process is also crucial for preventing cancerous growths. Oshumi's discoveries led to a new paradigm in understanding of how the cell recycles its content. His discoveries have opened the path to understanding the fundamental importance of autophagy in many physiological processes, such as in the adaptation to starvation or response to infection. The prize was awarded by the Nobel Assembly at Stockholm's Karolinska Institute. Here's a roundup of the other international news and world wrap. Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos has appointed a team of senior government officials to launch talks with the opposition on changes to a peace deal with the FARC rebel group. The peace deal was rejected by a narrow margin in a referendum on Sunday. Former President Álvaro Uribe, who led the No campaign, did not attend the meeting but appointed 3 negotiators to hold talks with the government. The Italian Coast Guard has coordinated the rescue of more than 5,600 migrants in one of the biggest operations in a single day. The migrants had set off from the Libyan coast in nearly 40 boats. One migrant is reported to have died and several others were airlifted for medical treatment. According to the International Organization for Migration, some 132,000 migrants have arrived in Italy this year. Donald Trump's presidential hopes suffered a new setback as authorities clamped down on his charitable foundation. New York Attorney General said that the Trump Foundation must cease and desist from soliciting contributions in New York. Prosecutors issued a notice of violation after determining the foundation had no proper registration. Hillary Clinton seized the offensive to brand the Republican an unscrupulous businessman. China is to build an ocean park on Hainan Island, which is isolated in the disputed South China Sea. Hainan, the southernmost province of China, is one of the coastal areas where the recreational marine parks will come up. Beijing has laid claim to over 80% of the South China Sea. An international court rejected China's claims in July backing the Philippines, with which Taiwan, Vietnam, Brunei and Malaysia have made overlapping claims over the sea. On to some sports news now, and India regained the #1 spot in the ICC Test cricket rankings after beating New Zealand by 178 runs in the second test at the Eden Gardens. The hosts also took an unassailable lead in the 3-test match series, going up 2-0.
Indian cricket team on Monday pulled off a brilliant all-round performance to trounce New Zealand by 178 runs in the second test match at the Eden Gardens. With this, the hosts also clinched the 3-test series 2-0. Virat Kohli's men wrapped up the series deciding victory on the 4th day of the match after setting the Black Caps a mammoth target of 376 runs to chase. The visitors showed some spark to start with, but their chase floundered in the post-tea session and the side was bowled out for just 197 runs.
We were able to control the run rate, I thought, in that first innings. Where in that second innings, they played very well and took the game to us. Any time over here that's a factor, then we weren't able to restrict them. But hopefully we can do that better in the next match.
For India, spinners R. Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja once again provided important breakthroughs as Mohammad Shami also chipped in with late wickets. All three bowlers picked up 3 wickets each.
Great from Ajinkya Rahane.
As a captain, I think the contribution by Jadeja in the first game and Saha here. Saha has been doing really well this year. I wish him well to keep going. And obviously a keeper coming good for you is an added bonus. So I feel these two have to be the biggest gains.
With the win, India replaced Pakistan at the top of the ICC Test cricket rankings. However, skipper Virat Kohli downplayed rankings, saying winning matches was more important.
Rankings are something that's just an incentive for what you do on the field. I didn't even know how many points difference we have to get to #1. We just want to win every game that we play. It's as simple as that. It doesn't mean that we take the foot off the pedal in Indore.
Earlier, a washout in the 4th test at Port of Spain against West Indies during India's last test series had cost Virat Kohli's men the top spot by just 1 point, and they were just behind Pakistan. Indian cricket team is now on top of the table. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
In other sports news now, the verdict in Maria Sharapova's appeal against a 2-year doping ban will be announced by the Court of Arbitration for Sports today. 5 times Grand Slam winner Sharapova was banned by the International Tennis Federation in June following a positive test for the banned drug meldonium during January's Australian Open. The former world #1 from Russia is seeking to have her suspension reversed or reduced. She had called the ITF's ruling unfairly harsh, as an independent tribunal had found that she had not intentionally violated anti-doping rules. Sharapova admitted taking meldonium during the season's opening Grand Slam in Melbourne, but said she had been unaware that it had been banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA. Meldonium was added to WADA's list of banned substances at the start of the year after mounting evidence that it boosted blood flow and enhanced athletic performance.
I know that with this, I face consequences, and I don't want to end my career this way, and I really hope that I will be given another chance to play this game. And I know many of you thought that I would be retiring today and announcing my retirement. But if I was ever going to announce my retirement, it would probably not be in a downtown Los Angeles hotel with this fairly ugly carpet.
That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.